hand grinder I used to use for coffee, and I put the Szechuan peppers through it. Takes forever. I really need a mortar and a pestle, and I just don't know why I don't have one, but that's what I need. So let me see if I can share screen. Somebody's got to let me share screen, whoever the host is.
I don't think I can let you share screen. I'm a co-host, but I don't think I have that power.
You probably be getting a message.
Or you might be able to allow participants to share their screens somehow. But I don't know.
I can't. Yeah, I tried Fred.
Okay, that's all right.
If you try and share your screen, I can allow it.
Okay, I'm going to say share screen. Oh, there we go. All right, so here you go. Can you see it?
Oh.
Yeah.
I've eaten those so many times. I just didn't know what they were called.
Yeah, so there's the whole story on them. So that's what they look like. And they're, from China. A unique aroma and flavor, neither hot like chili peppers nor pungent like black pepper. Slight lemony overtones that creates a tingly numbness in the mouth due to hydroxy alpha sanshool. That's from Wikipedia. So, yeah, it grows on a kind of a bushy tree or something.
Well, since you have that ingredient, I don't know if you're interested, but this is a subscription service. Oh, shit, why can't I paste it in? But here we go. This recipe is free this weekend for the Szechuan chicken salad. It's normally behind a paywall, but it's free for the weekend.
Thank you, Charles.
Yeah, once you have the spice, you can put it in just about anything, because it's not a hot spice. So you may be making something that's savory but not hot. Maybe you're making a chicken dish but doesn't call for chilies. You could throw some of this in there, and it would kind of give a different. It's more like a lemony, citrusy flavor, but it still gives you that tingle. Doesn't have to be in Chinese food.
Hi Ken. Welcome.
So, my favorite type of thing to cook is basically a fusion of Indian and Thai.
Cool.
And so something I cook regularly in the rice cooker is basically, I don't know if you've ever had dal, which is basically a spicy lentil soup.
Yep.
And so I just cook it in the rice cooker. I would cook lentils and rice together, and that's my go-to. And then I cook veggie stir-fry separately.
Cool.
So,
yeah.
When you do the dal in the rice cooker, or the lentils in the rice cooker, do you have to like soak the lentils first before you put them in there?
I'll actually show you right now because we wanted to have rice for this meal, so I'll cook it. The hard thing for me is to pick what type of rice, because here, I'll show you. Can you see all my different rices?
Look at that. Cool.
So this is all rices and beans. So I can do brown jasmine or basmati or brown basmati or wild rice.
Cool.
But my favorite is this, like the orange dal. And so I'll get the rice cooker and make that.
That is nice. I like dal. I cook that too. And there's lots of variations. You can put sweet potatoes, and you can make it a main dish or a side dish.
So what I do is I just have this really small little pot of rice cooker, and I put oil in it first. This is coconut oil. I actually smuggled this in from the Caribbean.
Is the foil for easy cleanup?
What foil?
I thought you said oil. You said oil. I thought I heard foil.
So I put oil, and then I put the spices on the bottom, and I fry them a little bit, and you can just fry it in the rice cooker.
Yeah.
And so the spices I'm doing today, I've got in my little spice grinder, I've got peppercorns, little hot pepper, and some turmeric. And I'm just going to grind it up real quick here. And then I just put that in the oil.
Cool.
And I just let it cook in there until it pops so that the oil gets infused,
Yeah,
especially
that's
with
probably,
the turmeric.
yeah. That's kind of the Indian style to fry your spices a little bit before you get going.
And then when I was growing up, we fried all the spices in the oil for rice. And then you would toss the rice so that the oil was on, the flavor of the oil was on all the rice. And then I put 1 cup of the orange lentils and 1 cup of rice in there and just cook it. And the lentils basically disappear, but it becomes a protein-enriched rice, basically.
Okay.
That's right, the rice and lentils.
Or are you cooking that in a rice cooker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just,
The rice and
this is just a teeny little, I think it's just a two cup or 4 cup. I can't read what it says.
small one. Okay.
Or if we go step by step, so you are like right now just frying the spices, right?
Correct. Yep, I'm
Okay.
just frying the spices in the rice cooker.
Correct.
And I mean, you can do it on, if you're doing a big pot of it, you do it in a pot. And the thicker the metal of the pot, the better.
Okay.
Because especially with rice, it's really good to just bring it up to a boil for a few minutes and then just put the lid on and shut it off and let it just steam in the pot. So.
Yeah, I'm kind of old school, but for my birthday, one of my daughters bought me an Instapot, so I've been kind of experimenting with that a little bit. I sort of resisted it in the past, but hey, when somebody gives you one, then you have a little more incentive to fool around with it.
So when I'm cooking for others, that's my rice cooker.
There you go. Yeah.
You know. But when
Yeah,
I'm
because
just
I have
cooking
a
for
small
myself-
version, it's only three quarts.
Your drink, yeah.
I can see half of me on your screen and whole of me on my screen.
Okay.
Fred, I love Instapots.
Yeah, I'm sort of getting the hang of it. I mean, I had a pressure cooker, a real nice stainless steel pressure cooker, and I don't know what happened. It must have disappeared. And and I have a crock pot, and that's why I was thinking I don't really need an Instapot, but turns out my pressure cooker, I can't find it. So I'm using the pressure cooking part of it. So, and I never had a rice cooker, but it does. I did sushi.
My parents are eating.
I did sushi
Oh,
2
look at
days
that.
ago.
You guys weren't paying attention. Emily already made the whole meal.
I already made the whole meal earlier today for my parents. We're so
Well, you have to do like the fancy
like to
cooking
eat.
where it's like you just put it in the oven and then you instantly take it out. It's instantly ready.
This is where you work backwards. You show the finished dish and then you show how it was cooked.
Right.
Yeah, it's like the Rachel Ray's like 30-minute meals, right? It's like you partially cook it and just pop out the instantly cooked food.
Okay, and everybody, this is my sister, Allison, and she is gonna help if I need like camera angle changes at any point. She's my assistant.
And
your
who's
mom.
that photo bombing in the background?
That's my mom. Got the
So
whole
we've got
fam-
people from 4 countries on here I recognize.
Yeah, it's
We've
amazing.
got-
Amazing.
And then people in the U.S. from other countries.
Put lipstick on your lips.
Yeah. Okay, so does anybody have any questions about the rice and lentils for Orr?
Oh, it just popped. Now I get to put the lentils and rice in, but essentially I just put, a cup of lentils and a cup of rice, and then to make sure it's covered by, a half inch or an inch of water.
But or what are the spices which you put in the oil, right? I'm just putting the spices in the oil. Which are the spices which you put?
Today I just made it simple. I put turmeric, ginger, black peppercorn, and a little teeny dried hot pepper.
Okay, so that's 4 things, and you call that simple.
Yeah.
And about
For
how much
Indian
meat-
cooking, that's very simple.
That
For
is
Indian
very
food,
simple. Yeah.
and
that
about
is
how
very
much meat
basic.
store?
Say that again?
Did you use like equal parts of each of those, or just like a dash of each, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I don't like it really spicy, so I put more turmeric and ginger and very little pepper, and that those
And
dried black
pepper,
peppercorns
you
actually
put
for me are spicier than a hot pepper.
Yeah.
and you put the whole pepper or you put the ground pepper?
The whole pepper, just a little teeny one.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
But he was using the grinder, right?
Yeah, I just put it in the grinder. So it was all dried. And sometimes I'll do fresh though. I'll do the dried first in the grinder, and then I might put garlic, ginger, and turmeric in the grinder fresh and put it in also.
Okay.
But
Yeah, and
if it's fresh, I really like to just mix it with oil and soy sauce and put it on the afterwards, so you don't waste that fresh, good flavor.
Cool.
Yeah, because in the Indian cooking, they use like
There's
mustard
mustard.
seed, yellow and brown mustard seeds, and when you talk about pop, they put them in the skillet and they literally do kind of pop before
You
they're
probably can't see the oil, but the oil now is like really yellow from the turmeric.
perfect.
And so I'm
I
putting
wish you
in,
could use emojis on Zoom.
Yeah.
you can download the latest one and they have emojis.
Oh, do they? I downloaded a recent one the
Or
other
not
day.
emojis, you can do like the, where the glasses and the different
Oh
things on your
yeah,
face.
oh
The
yeah.
video filter.
I know all about that. I have fun with those.
So it's the
They
filter.
should have a chef's hat.
Right?
They should have a chef's hat. I really like this one. This is my favorite one.
Oh, I forgot to get you guys to tell me what kind of rice to do. The great rice debate. If it's Indian, it's one kind of rice. If it's Thai, it's a different kind of rice.
Yeah.
I use jasmine.
So
Indian is the long grain.
long grain brown jasmine is what I just put.
So I had to get ours ready ahead of time, and I just used generic like long grain white rice in the rice cooker.
I just bought some California sushi rice because I made sushi a couple days ago.
I vote pure wild rice, all wild rice.
Wild rice is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
And
yeah,
we
I
have
have
the
some
basmati.
Indian wild rice. That's really good. But
And we have the
I like to
basmati
mix it with other
rice
rices because it's really.
Yeah, it's not really a rice. So yeah, it mixes well with rice. And because it's expensive, that's a way to extend it a little bit.
How many chilies?
And I like that, I used to cook rice in a pot and like I always messed it up. I don't know what it was. Like I always made it either
Oh
too
my, those
soft
look so good.
or
Yeah,
something.
I gotta
So
love the rice cooker or the
I got
Instant
the
Pot.
little
Either way,
rice
you
cooker.
can't go back.
That might
Preach.
be.
Test
I
it.
don't know, I
always throwing it up in the pot.
I cooked a big pot of Instapot rice yesterday and it actually got a crust that burnt on the bottom. So
Good.
it'll happen.
Still tastes good.
Oh yeah.
Keep crusting the bottom.
Yeah, the only thing I've done in Instapot is rice, and it does work pretty good. You just push the button, and then it goes up to pressure and cooks, and then releases pressure. And like you say, it's like I've never had a rice cooker, so I assume it's just like a rice cooker.
Is there a rice called jasmati?
Basmati.
Basmati. Blend them both so you don't have to pick.
Yeah, jasmine and basmati together is jasmati. I like that.
It's like, so I actually had the luck of at the farmer's market this morning getting Thai basil and getting oyster mushrooms.
Wow.
So mine's going to be a little bit super fancy compared to the last 2 months of cooking.
That's awesome.
And
Yeah, that's the advantage of this recipe is you can throw in there whatever you got.
Yeah. Well, and I think like I maybe listed zucchini as a potential thing for mine, and we don't have zucchini, and it's not really
it's
a
like leave a
traditional.
zucchini on your neighbor's porch day. I mean,
What?
it's leave a zucchini on your neighbor's porch day.
Maybe that's why the little farmer stand was all out of it, but it's not traditional. I just really like it. And we have a little like farmer's stand near our house where this guy grows a bunch of stuff and has a honor system where you just put money in a coffee can to pay for the stuff you take. And we
That's
won't
cool.
get in, and yeah, it's great. And they didn't have any zucchini, but we got a few things, I think. Some onions and okra. We got okra.
You should have got me some.
You can take it.
Okra.
Yeah.
We did. Yeah, we got okra from the farmer.
I got given 4 pounds of okra, and have never cooked okra.
It's awesome. You can eat it raw.
It's so
Oh,
good.
You can
really?
eat it raw. You can
grill it,
fry it.
Anu, do they use okra in Indian cooking, Anu?
Oh yeah.
Yes, yes. There's a lot of okra. Like
I thought so, yeah.
yeah.
I
And
thought
Hindi
so.
masala.
we make it dry. We make it fried. We make it with gravy.
Make it like chips.
We make it like chips as well.
sounds
So we
so
dry
good.
it in the sun and we make it like so. There's a lot of type of okras we make.
A friend of mine at the farmer's market said she makes okra chips.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, it's big in the U.S. South.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Ron. Welcome.
Oh,
Okay,
it's
so I
very
think-
common here.
How about Asian green beans?
Green beans.
Oh yeah.
I make
I
them
love green beans.
pickled okra.
Pickled okra. Yeah. There's so many things you can do with okra.
Well, not to belabor Szechuan, I do a green bean Szechuan fried green beans with the Szechuan peppers and shiitake mushrooms and a little ginger and a little shallots and stuff like that. That is a really good dish too.
All right, so I think we're ready to move on to the veggie and stir-fry portion of the evening.
So I have a question before we go there. Like I am
Okay.
still
Wait,
I am
you know how to make rice?
What? Sorry.
I said you know how to make rice. Why are you asking? No, just teasing.
So yeah, so you said we fry the spices and just put the raw rice, or we should cook it beforehand, right?
No, I mean so if you have a big pot, you get the oil and the spices and you mix the dal and the rice together so it's all coated. In the rice cooker, you put the water in there and it boils and it just coats it on its own.
Got it. Clear.
Yeah, so right now it's in the cooker. Well, never mind, I didn't press the button. Now it's cooking.
So Omar and Emma, are you guys still working on your rice as well? We can give it a few minutes.
Oh, my rice is done. I boiled it.
Your rice is on.
All right.
What about you, Emma?
I put my rice in the Instant Pot, so it's just doing its thing. I'm free.
Okay, we'll give it a couple minutes so that, I don't know how to say your name. Anu? Is that correct?
Yeah, Anu and
No. Okay.
Bomi. I'm gonna pin the video so I can listen to Emily and see what Emily's doing.
Well, yeah, and while we're kind of hanging out, I can.
She ate it already.
Is that the dishwasher?
Yeah, we have 2 empty plates. That's my dad's empty plate. So
we have a lot of stuff to chop, so we might as
show
well
you guys
start
what I
chopping. Yeah.
have. So I have I have onion, it's a little baby onion. I have some little bell peppers. We're gonna use a couple colors. I have fresh
Emily, my garlic is bigger than your onion.
literally ones. It's like, yeah, it literally is. If you don't have fresh bulbs of garlic, minced garlic in a jar is like really easy to use in a pinch. You just scoop out however much you want.
Yep.
And then I've got mushrooms. I'm using baby Bella mushrooms. And I'm only using 2 because it's just for she and I, and she doesn't like mushrooms. So I'll have all of that. And then I have some broccoli, cauliflower, which I'm going to use like a little bit of each of these. I've got some nice little snap peas.
Snap peas.
And some carrots. Which my carrots were limp earlier, and little tip for carrots and celery, if your celery or carrots are limp and you put them in water, they will get nice and crispy.
Cool.
Like within a couple hours.
Not hot water though, cold water.
Cold water, just in the fridge. Yep. So
you can actually leave the celery just on the counter in a like you're doing a bouquet.
So
this is,
yeah.
I got this elephant garlic. Literally, it's huge.
And then I also have, which I don't know if anybody else has fish sauce, but this is my little baby bottle of fish sauce that I buy from 7-Eleven in Thailand for like 50 cents.
7-Eleven, like the gas station?
Yeah, in Thailand.
I wish I could have found a bottle that size. Here's my fish sauce compared to my head.
That's all you can get here. And
it's like a lifetime supply.
They're easy to travel with.
I don't know.
I got anchovy sauce. Does that count?
Yeah, fish sauce is the anchovy.
Yeah.
Sort of, yeah.
You can actually buy this one on Amazon. And then I also have, for the veggie stock powder, I have this mushroom flavored seasoning powder, which you can also get on Amazon. It's from Thailand. It's all in Thai. But it's just it's like bouillon, like chicken bouillon, but veggie. And you could use chicken bouillon too if you wanted to. It's just whatever flavor you want.
So it's just powdered mushrooms.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a local farmer who grows mushrooms that I actually got this, and I've been trying to convince them to do that.
Yeah, I think you can get this on Amazon. You can get the same brand of curry powder or curry paste as well on Amazon. So. Okay, so I think, let's see, I think what I'll do actually, if I move my cutting board over here, can you guys see that?
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so you can't see my face, but you can at least see what I'm doing.
Nice knife.
Thank you. These are awesome. These are Wusthof. They're pretty, we just got them like over Labor Day or Memorial Day or something.
Yeah, that's one of the best German brands. Yeah. Probably
so I have my nice Asian knife, my Sentoku knife.
Yeah.
Mine's Chicago cutlery.
Chicago cutlery, nice.
Just like.
I have a big.
I have 2 cameras. I have to decide which one.
Yeah, I have a big Henkel chef's knife, but basically I use a Japanese global, a couple of global knives that I really like.
And so I'm cooking for 2 people. It looks like most people on here are cooking for 1 or 2. If you're cooking for more, just like kind of adjust to that. And hopefully everybody can like follow along. I don't know. I've never done this before, by the way, everybody. This is a first for me. So I guess I'll start with my onion. Just gonna move everything is washed, by the way. If your veggies are not washed yet, I would recommend going ahead and doing that. And if you have different veggies than I do, that's fine. It really doesn't matter. That's the beauty of this dish, is that you can just use what you like and what you have on hand, which is great. I also really like to do this with like leftover rice and make a little fried rice dish. So
Is that your onion or the garlic?
baby onion, yeah. See?
Put it here next to it.
Yeah. It's that size compared to a can of beer.
That's my flowers are Thai basil. There you go.
It's really weird not being able to see my face on the screen. I don't think they'll be able to see the. Yeah, it's okay.
This is how Martha Stewart got her start.
Your camera person is having a hard time, huh?
Yeah, well, when you don't have 5 cameras.
Well,
Teasing your sister.
if you could see my face, then like you wouldn't be able to see the cutting board as close up.
Right.
Yep, that's true.
So this is good. This is good. Okay, so I like to do. Some people like big chunks. I like to do my stuff in like thin, kind of strips. So this is a small onion. If you have a bigger onion, you'll have to cut it in maybe 2 or 3 sections. But I just do nice thin little strips of my onion. There's that.
Do you feel like there's any vegetable you shouldn't put on in it? You're really trying to get vegetables that none of them are super strong flavored.
Yeah, I mean, I probably like wouldn't put the okra in there.
I wouldn't use like eggplant.
Eggplant. Well, actually, I have used eggplant in stir-fry before, and it's all right. I mean,
If
but
you're gonna do zucchini, you need to cook it at the very end.
yeah, if you have zucchini, or if you ever use zucchini with this, put it in at the end because it doesn't take as long to cook as everything else does.
Oh man, I already put my zucchini in.
It'll be okay. Just a little soft.
It'll just end up being really soft. Yeah.
Yeah,
no
it's
texture.
fine. It's not gonna like be bad. But that's
Those
the really
with,
great
like-
thing about this is that you can just try different things each time you cook, and see what you like and see what works and what doesn't.
Quick question.
Quick question, yeah.
For those of us that are using protein, should we add that sooner or later? Or
Yeah.
I got some seafood. Yeah.
Good question. I would say go ahead and get it like cut up, and I would put it in your wok or in your pan before the veggies and get it like cooked most of the way, and then add your veggies afterwards, and then you can get it like finished all together.
Okay. Yeah, it's already chopped up.
Yeah.
I just.
So how I tend to do it is I chop up the things that take the longest. I just basically start the frying pan, put the oil, garlic and onions, and then chop the stuff that takes the longest and put it in the pan first, like potatoes, carrots, and then finish with like your herbs and your mushrooms. And so it's cooking the whole time I'm cutting.
Whoops.
Yep. See, that rice is boiling already.
And as you can see, my mushrooms are like as much as the rest of my veggies. I just really like mushrooms.
Well, you had put on your list baby corn, so it inspired me to get some corn.
Yeah, the little, like in Thailand, they have these little baby corn cobs that they put in stuff. And I could only find it canned here, and that just didn't sound as appealing.
Yeah, so I managed to get some, like, you know, a couple ears of corn.
Cool.
I find the canned ones to be just tasteless.
Sometimes if you get big corn, cobs of corn, there's a little like sort of protrusion at the bottom, and it's just another corn that's growing from it.
Oh, nice.
Oh, yeah.
That's where this came from.
And for the cauliflower and broccoli, it's really personal preference on if you want it cut up into small bits or like keep it into bigger chunks. But we need more.
I never really liked cauliflower.
And if you don't like cauliflower, don't put it in.
Which is, I don't know why. I don't know. I just feel like it doesn't really have any flavor.
I really like cauliflower, but I haven't found a good way to chop it. It's always exhausting to cut it up.
It's really popular now because of keto diets.
Yeah, I made cauliflower rice the other day when like my dad had to go on a special diet for a medical test, and so he couldn't have any
no wheat.
Yeah, no grains, no carbs, no fruit. It was all protein and vegetables. So I made like fried rice with cauliflower. But sometimes I will just take my head of cauliflower and like cut all the way through it and make these like thick slices.
What I do.
Oh, I had it once where basically, yeah, they just cut the cauliflower pretty much in half and then put it on the grill.
Yeah, like a cauliflower steak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that, and that was.
And if you brush it with fish sauce, it takes on a nice umami flavor.
Ooh.
It's a very
Yeah.
a surprisingly good flavor.
That's right.
Even brushed on steak, fish sauce.
I mean, that's kind of the goal, isn't it, with food, period, is to try to get all the tastes in one dish. And that's why I really love Thai food is pretty much every dish has all the flavors in the one dish, right?
I can't think of his name, but there's a very famous chef in Los Angeles who who's on TV all the time, and he had a recipe that I saw once where they brushed a filet mignon with fish sauce and then grilled it. I was like, what? So I tried it, and it's unbelievably good.
Yeah, it's a nice umami.
Well, in Thailand, they have on the table when you eat, they have like 4 different kinds of like spices on the table that you can use. And one of them is a pickled pepper, and it's really nice. And then there's another thing that's like a dark, and I didn't know what it was for a long time. It's like a dark sauce with chopped up Thai chilies, like fresh chilies. And it turns out it's just Thai chilies soaked in fish sauce. And you just like get a spoonful of it and pour it over your rice, and it's really, really good. And it's not super fishy. You would expect it to be fishy, and it's really not.
Well, the Romans had a fish sauce that they made everywhere. So it's not like, fish sauce just suddenly appeared out of nowhere. The Romans were making fish sauce, 1,000 years ago or something, or 2,000 years ago.
Okay, so just so everybody knows, broccoli and cauliflower stems are awesome. Don't throw them away. I just cut them up into thin slices like the carrot. That's the broccoli. They're good. Don't throw them away. Use them.
They have a lot of antioxidants.
They have a lot of antioxidants. And now I'm doing my garlic. So this is my garlic clove. I like garlic, so I'm using a big one. And I just
show everybody that trick. There you go.
Yeah, smash that garlic. It peels.
And
it takes the skin off at
grab
the
the
same
skin
time.
off. And actually, fun fact that I learned from a friend in Thailand, who's Thai and owns a restaurant. He was teaching me how to make some stuff. He doesn't take the skin off of his garlic. He just leaves it on. So that's another option if you ever want to try that. It doesn't really make a difference. It's just like less work to take it off.
Well, I think there's some dishes where they throw the whole clove of garlic in there and then they take it out after the cooking's done.
Yeah, kind of like a bay leaf.
Well, he had like the really small, they were kind of like this size or smaller garlic cloves, and he just like chopped it up like this with the skin on it and just left the skin and threw it in with the, I think he was making some kind of stir fry, a little bit different than what we're making tonight, but I was just like, why aren't you taking the skin off? And he was just like, why would you? It's too much work.
So all the stuff that you like put it to the side, like the garlic skin, the onion skin, I save all that until I get a big bag of it, and that's how I make my veggie stock.
You're
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, I think that's up too.
That
you
is
just-
smart.
With the meat.
So basically, I mean, the best onion soup is you just save all those bits of onion skin. I mean,
Yeah.
that's how you make onion soup.
Yeah.
Emma, you had mentioned before that you had a ton of hot peppers. Emily reminded me that what you can do is chop them up real fine and put them in a thing with vinegar and oil. And that basically is what you just put a little bit of that on something when you want flavors later.
Yeah, chili oil. I actually was doing my chilies yesterday and the seeds were coming out because they're dried. So I planted some of my seeds this morning of the Thai chilies. So we'll see how they come out.
I've managed to get 4 from my garden. That was it this year.
Brian, I just see in the chat that you said cut out the peppers or full. I like to cut them up. If you're using like the hot peppers, I like to cut them up and just put in a few at a time because if it gets overpowering, it's hard to.
And don't stick your finger in your eye.
Don't stick your finger in your eye or grab it by the stem and use kitchen shears to cut them.
Or disposable gloves like the doctors have. You can do that too.
I also
Especially
put
with-
up some tomato, FYI. I didn't have that on the list, but it's there.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think I'm gonna start cooking my veggies, and if anybody is not ready, they can just like, it's okay, it'll be okay.
What kind of oil are you using?
I'm just using olive oil.
That's what I do too.
Yep. So for this amount of veggies, I'm probably gonna use like a, I don't know, tablespoon or 2. I just kind of, yeah, you see? I just kind of do that and turn it to somewhere between medium to high, like medium, high, somewhere in there.
Are you cooking with gas? Are you using gas?
I've got an electric stove, unfortunately.
Yeah, me too.
So, yep. I'm eating a piece of mushroom. So give that a minute to heat up.
Yeah, isn't the heat in peppers more in the seeds than anything?
It is, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why, like, when people make jalapeno poppers and they pull the seeds out, it's not like
Not spicy.
spicy at all.
Yeah, like when I use like serrano fresh peppers, I always scrape the seeds out of them.
Yeah, so if you want that flavor but you don't want it too spicy, then take out all or some of the seeds. And then I also have, here, point it this way. I also have my stuff lined up. So I have sugar, which I use just a tiny bit of. They use a lot more of it in Thailand in real life. Soy sauce, I have my fish sauce.
This is not real life. This is just a video.
Yeah, quarantine. I have sriracha. I also have my little chili peppers that
Sriracha.
I made today. So I'm kind of winging it with this.
What is it? Chili peppers and?
So these are
Sesame oil.
we
cut up these little chili peppers earlier and roasted them in sesame oil and let them sit in a hot pan.
Yeah, so I have these dried chilies, and Fred kind of told me last night to like saute them. So I sauteed them in sesame oil, and then I actually added some olive oil too, because sesame oil can be kind of like intense, really dense oil. And I've never done it before. I've never really used dried chili peppers before, so we'll see how.
You always use fresh little Thai peppers.
Okay, so I'm gonna add my onions and my bell peppers, my wok, which is very hot, as you can see here. And I'm gonna add my carrots as well. I'm gonna give those like a couple minutes.
It seems like pretty much all the vegetables you picked could be eaten raw, actually. So it doesn't matter how
They really
cooked
can't
they
be,
are.
yeah. And I know that like some people always add the garlic first, but I'm always afraid that it's gonna burn because it's so small. So I like to add it last. And
I
I
agree.
kind of will like make some space in my pan and just give it its own little space and let it saute and then stir it.
No, I agree. I agree, especially that minced up garlic, it burns quickly.
Can I back up the conversation to the part where you were talking about the fish sauce with the peppers in, making a nice brown sauce that they would put on stuff? Are those cut up peppers or are those whole peppers?
Yeah, so they use the Thai chilies. They use them fresh and they cut them up into like thin slices and just soak it in fish sauce, and it's just there in a jar on the table.
I am doing this. I am making this.
Yes, you can make it.
Well, I like doing it with also putting raw garlic in it.
They probably got a little bit of vinegar in there maybe too.
A little vinegar and a little bit of sugar.
They probably do, but when I asked, the guy was just like, it's fish sauce, like, you're not gonna like it. And I was like, I like fish sauce. And he was like, no, white people don't like fish sauce. And I was like, no, like, I swear, I'm gonna like it, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's at every street food little place.
Yeah, I mean, a little goes a long way sometimes.
I think the
Fish sauce.
majority
I
of
like
it is actually vinegar, little sugar, and then fish sauce as a flavor.
Probably.
Can you review what we're doing with sugar?
Yeah, so once you saute all your veggies, you put in soy sauce and fish sauce and your spices and the veggie powder and sugar. And the Thai recipe from the cooking school that I did calls for like a teaspoon of sugar, and I use like maybe a quarter of a teaspoon. Like I just use a little bit. It's gonna help add some flavor.
It's gonna like help caramelize.
Well, you think about it, you're putting all the flavors. You're putting sweet, salty, umami. What about, we don't really have any bitter.
No.
Soy
sauce? Soy sauce. Yeah.
But that's what that sugar does. It adds that little sweet portion because sometimes the other ingredients don't have sweet.
Another tip, I'm gonna go ahead and add my mushrooms, by the way. I don't know if you can really see. You can't really see the texture, but they're starting to get a little bit soft. If you ever have something or make something that's too spicy, you can add sugar to it to make it less spicy.
That's why you can eat Thai food and you start sweating, but your mouth isn't on fire.
Well, and that's why they have sugar on the table in Thai restaurants. At least in Thailand they do. It's because if something is too spicy, you can add a little sugar to your food, and it helps cut the spice.
And like Ori said, all these vegetables you could eat raw. So if one of them doesn't get quite cooked enough, it doesn't really make all that difference.
Right, exactly.
You're really looking for as many different colors, really. So it's like very visually tasty.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah, very nice.
Does anybody have any questions or anything at this point? I guess I could kind of give you guys a little background on why I know about this stuff.
Sure, let's hear it.
Yeah.
So, and I'm gonna go ahead and add my broccoli and my cauliflower to my wok.
When do the tomatoes go?
The tomatoes go at the very end.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tomatoes and stir-fry, wow.
They go at the very
I'm
end.
using snow peas. Would they go in now?
They will go in at the end as well.
Okay.
And thank you for reminding me because, yeah, I have snow peas too and I forgot.
Yeah, they'll be best if they're crispy.
Yeah, you want them to be crunchy.
So I actually put the mushrooms right at the end because I like my mushrooms with texture.
Oh, okay.
So it matters. Like
Well, you can also slice them a little thicker too.
Yeah.
A lot of people like the mushrooms really cooked down. And
I like them pretty cooked down. Yeah. It's personal preference. So,
What
but
is
yeah,
subjective?
so I have traveled to Thailand a few times. The first time was, yeah, the first time that I went was New Year's 2017, like 2016 turning into 2017. And that's a postcard I found today that I wrote her 3 years ago. And the first time I went, I spent about 6 weeks. No, yeah, I spent 6 weeks and then left and went back for another few weeks. And then I've gone back another 2 years for the winter. For the first time it was 6 months, and then this last time I was there for 4.5 months.
Cool.
And I live in, when I'm there, I rent a little house in Pai, Thailand, which is north of Chiang Mai, almost to the Myanmar border, and just stay there for a few months at a time. And my mom visited me when I was there a couple of years ago, so we did a Thai cooking class, and then I have made Thai friends who I convinced to teach me how to cook some stuff. So that's why I know, and that's like, those are my credentials, I guess. Okay, so I'm gonna show this.
Nice.
This is pretty much all cooked. And I
Amrita is on here. He is in Thailand, just waking up.
Control over the temperature. So I'm moving, and also maybe I'll have you help me with the camera. I just moved my veggies over. I'm gonna add like a tiny bit more oil and my garlic. I have my garlic like off to the side right here. And I'm just gonna let that get nice and sauteed. Keep stirring it so it doesn't burn. And once it gets pretty fragrant, it's pretty good. It doesn't take long. And then you can just kind of like mix it in with everything else. And then if you're having tomatoes or snow peas, you can go ahead and add those.
Now we're getting colorful.
Nice and colorful, yeah. And at this point, you can turn your burner down to low. Once we add the other stuff, you're not going to need it to be really cooking so much.
Just keep it warm here.
Yeah. Okay, so how is everybody doing on their veggies? I can't see everybody because I'm big on this screen.
Fred's already
doing my seafood first.
Doing good?
Omar's cooking.
He's cooking.
I'm doing my seafood right now, so the veggies will go in after.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, I've got some.
We have the veggies which are frying right now.
Okay, your veggies are going. Cool.
I got.
Emma, what about you? How are you
I got
doing?
some cherry tomatoes. Maybe I'll put them in.
That'd be good. Yeah.
I have not added zucchini yet.
Okay. I would go ahead and add the zucchini if you've like added all your other stuff, and probably after 1 to 2 minutes that should be good. That's also a personal preference thing. If you like it to be pretty like soft or a little bit crunchier, either way is
I like
fine.
to, when I add zucchini, I like to turn the burner. This is like opposite of what she said, but I like to turn the burner all the way up to high and like get a little bit of char on it. Sometimes I'll even add like a little bit more olive oil, and it doesn't take very long, like 1 or 2 minutes. Yeah, it doesn't take long.
Yeah, 'cause
one
in the
little
real-
trick, if you like the burn crust on them, dip them in sugar water, and then you'll get like
Yeah, this is good. I've never.
Yeah.
you'll get a caramelized.
Have you
Yeah,
had
plus,
it yet?
plus if you ever been someplace where they have a big operation with woks, they have a huge fire underneath there, and they just maneuver the wok to control the heat. You know, when the wok's down in the hole, it's really hot, and then they kind of lift it up and stir things around.
No, I have not added the sugar yet. So I've just cooked my veggies and I just turned my burner off because I'm waiting. I want everybody to be able to kind of follow along and not be like too behind me. So I'm gonna like slow it down a little bit and let people get caught up.
So currently you have not added any sauces, right?
I have not added any sauces. I just have my veggies, no seasoning, no sauces, nothing. Just veggies in the garnish. That's what I have.
Okay.
And then when everybody's kind of ready to move to the next step, then we'll do that. And I'm gonna type in what I add into the chat box. And these are all like approximate also.
So I was thinking, you know, to add bitter to it, you could add, well, zucchini tends to be more green flavored, or bitter gourd, which is like looks like a cucumber. My rice just popped. Let's see here. Does anybody want to see what it looks like?
Yeah.
Just looks like orange rice. Not really. Let me grab my phone.
So the rice will look like this, right?
Or do you see his rice? Anu's rice?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, the dal, the lentils pretty much almost disappear. So let's flip this around.
Correct. The lentils disappear, yeah.
So here's my little rice cooker. Can you guys see it? And so it's just like perfectly steamed. And so you can kind of maybe see a couple pieces of lentils, but it's pretty much just, and it's half lentils and half rice.
Looks good.
And so it's basically high protein rice.
I think I've got a little too much spice in mine.
I made a lot. I always do.
Well, when you put it over rice, that'll take some of the, you know, it'll dilute the heat a little bit.
I just have capsaicin in the air now.
Ooh.
My sister says drink beer.
When your air is hard to breathe.
Okay.
I'm like addicted to Thai basil. I
Good
really
stuff.
like it. So my favorite probably Thai dish is just Thai basil and green beans.
Yeah.
That's,
I have a recipe in my book from my cooking class for Thai basil. Let's see.
If I were on that, I also did my Thai cooking class in Thailand.
Did you?
Yeah.
Do you remember the name of the place?
Oh man, that was like back in like 2006. It's crazy. It was actually a private chef. She used to be like I think a big time chef in like Bangkok, but then she retired in Thai.
they are government certified.
What's up?
Plus, we already talked the other day about cow soy.
Yeah.
which is my favorite dish, which is,
None of the cooking schools in Pi had cow soy available, so I had to get a friend to teach me that. But that's even better because that's even like more. Really
I
like
mean,
that.
it's kind of it's sort of a stretch, but it's kind of like Thai chicken noodle soup, but it's way more than that.
Yeah.
Doesn't it take a little while to make?
The cow soy is not
Yeah.
actually that complicated.
I know I wanted to make it, but I put it off for a long time for some
Who's
reason.
saying that? I can't see who is talking.
Masuro.
Just use Thai red curry paste, and I use I get red bell peppers, and I basically just sort of cook them down, and then put them in the blender or something to make the underlying sauce.
So the cow soy base is like Fred said, it's the red curry paste, but then they use the yellow curry powder. Is kind of the base of it, and it's actually a really simple recipe. Like they don't use any ginger or galangal or like any extra weird stuff that's hard to find.
So good.
The only thing that's weird that's hard to find is the pickled mustard greens that go on top that are like so good.
You can use kale. Possibly.
Yeah.
Jen could pickle some for us. Just buy mustard greens and she would pickle them.
I could.
That'd be awesome.
You probably get mustard.
I was on mute earlier when you guys were talking about okra. I was like, I pickle a mean okra.
I think my grandma used to pickle okra.
That's just, for me, I mean, I don't like okra in the beginning, and then to pickle it sounds compounding of nastiness.
I've never actually had pickled okra.
I feel like
grilled okra.
Yeah, okra got a bad rep because it can have a sliminess to it.
Yeah.
They got a bad rep for that.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about pickled eggs?
Oh.
I've made them.
Delicious. What about balloon? Anybody had that?
Sounds good if you're at the bar and they've got a big jar of pickled eggs. It sounds appropriate.
Yeah, in Wisconsin, pickled eggs are pretty big. Like pretty much every bar you go to, you're gonna, like Wisconsin bar you go to, you're gonna find pickled eggs there.
Yeah.
Not for me.
Here in New Orleans, it's pickled pig's feet.
Jen, what are you eating?
Just another way of preservation, pickling.
I've got lo mein.
Nice.
I was in a
Hi, Amy.
I would love to cook, but I got no energy for it. That's why I'm already in my jammies.
all right, Jen, I will send you a bowl of this, and you send me some pickled okra.
I will trade you happily. I've run out of like, I don't want to eat that many pickles because it keeps reinfecting your gut with all that positive bacteria, and like my gut already has all the positive bacteria. So
You don't need to more positivity. Like if you reach a plateau of positivity, you start becoming negative.
yeah, but so I am happy to pass along pickles to others. Amy, I just let you in, girl. Why are you back?
Okay, so are we ready? My cooking friends, are we ready to move to the next step?
So I've already added the Thai peppers, or does that come later too?
Yeah, you can add them now. That's fine.
The more you cook the pepper, the spicier the food gets, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I've got all my veggies cooked in the pan pretty much, and then my rice is cooked too. I haven't done any sauce yet.
Okay, so let's go to, hi Amy, by the way, nice to see you. Let's go to the next step then, since everybody is pretty much ready, I think. So I'm just gonna turn my burner back on to like somewhere between low and medium. It doesn't have to be too high. Maybe about medium actually. Yeah, I'm gonna do medium.
It's so hard to keep track on electric.
I know, I hate it.
Induction, my friend, induction.
Yeah, I think
Just like it's already.
I think induction is my next move because my place is all electric. So
yeah.
I've been cooking on electric for a long time. I'm sort of got the hang. I think once you get the hang of it, it's not so bad.
I have an induction burner and 2 pots. That's my kitchen.
So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw on my dry stuff first. So I'm gonna do like less than half a teaspoon of sugar. You can do more if you like stuff sweeter. I just don't like a lot of sugar personally. So this is like probably closer to a 1/4 teaspoon of sugar. I'm just gonna kind of sprinkle it over the top. And then same with my stock powder. I'm looking at my screen, by the way, not the camera. That's why I look weird, but that's fine. I'm using a teaspoon of this veggie stock powder. And again, I'm just going to sprinkle it over the top. And then I don't measure my soy sauce. Probably use a couple tablespoons of soy sauce or so, and I just kind of like get all my veggies nice and covered in the soy sauce.
You can always add more, but you can't take it out if you.
That's right,
too
right.
much.
You can always add more, and it's so salty. Like you want to be careful with it. You just kind of stir that all up, and then for the fish sauce, this is another thing that you can always add more. You cannot take it away. I use like a shake of the fish sauce, because if you overdo the fish sauce, then your food will taste fishy. So I'm gonna do it it's like 2 drops of fish sauce, and that'll just give it a nice mild flavor. It brings like a nice kind of salty
umami. Yeah, it adds the umami flavor.
Exactly. I'm gonna turn this down to low. And then, if you haven't already added your chilies, I'm gonna try.
Ooh man, that fish sauce is
I've never
strong.
used
Smelling.
before. This is like, I'm winging it, you guys. Wish us luck over here.
Emily, what is that again? Sorry, I missed
So
that
this
part.
is
The dry chili, or is it sambal?
These are whole dried chilies that I cut up and sauteed and just let soak in oil for a few hours. And I'm just gonna add like a small spoonful of them.
Oh, you made your own chili oil.
Yeah,
Or chilies in oil.
It's a new adventure. We'll see how.
So you really don't have any liquid in there at all, except whatever came from the vegetables then.
There's only a little bit of olive oil of liquid, yeah.
So if you didn't have powder, could you use just a little chicken broth or something like that, just a dash of that?
I think so. I don't see why not.
I have chicken broth actually that I was gonna use. What do we suggest? Like a teaspoon, tablespoon?
I would put like a teaspoon of it in there.
And you didn't have any, no cornstarch?
I didn't add any cornstarch. It's just super simple. And that's it. Like mine is done.
Because when you do with chicken and or I guess any meat, but when you do chicken, you do a little marinade with cornstarch and soy sauce, and it gives a kind of a velvety thing to the meat, which is why I think is why they use it when they're adding meat to your stir fry.
Well, I think what they're doing is they're grabbing the meat juice and creating a sauce.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly.
The cornstarch, so it's actually called velveting. It's a specific technique.
Yeah. Yeah, I just read about it the other day, actually.
How do you do it?
Well, it's just the combination. Like you say, you're making a gravy, just like if you added cornstarch drippings in a turkey pan. It's basically, well, in France, you would call it like a roux, where you add flour and fat together to make a roux. In this case, you're basically using, I lost my train of thought here. Cornstarch and some of the fat if you're using chicken or something with fat.
I usually use like rice flour, or I've got like lentil flour, what, moong dal flour?
Yeah,
So,
but it's combining that flour with the fat from whatever protein you're using there. If you're using, I mean, I had boneless, skinless chicken thighs, but there's still enough fat in there to, you know, to make a little bit of a sauce.
oh man.
Yeah, and the other
Just
thing
putting
with
a couple dashes of fish sauce really.
Quick question again. So I'm
yeah,
using fresh basil. Like what point should I add that as I'm sauteing my veggies, or leave that at the end?
I would put it in at the very end. Yeah,
Okay.
put it in at the very
Yeah,
end. It doesn't need a long time. And then
Yeah,
Just
you could do that, and you could even use a little bit of it in your presentation,
for sure.
you know? So put some in and cook it, but you could just save a little bit to put on top for your presentation, kind of, because it'll all be nice and green.
And you can always add more chili too if it's not spicy enough, or more fish sauce if.
And like you said, in Thailand, they'll have chili oil on the table, so it's not hot enough.
Yeah.
Make it hotter, yeah.
And actually, maybe I can find a picture of that, or can you make it so I can share my screen?
It should be, everybody can.
Oh, is it? Okay. Let me see. Yeah, here we go. So they have, let me annotate here. They have this is the fish sauce with the chilies. You can't see them in this picture, but they're in the bottom. And then they have the sugar and dry chili peppers. And then this is like kind of like a sour, like a sweet and sour sauce. And then I don't know if they have, there's another pepper that they kind of pickle that's really, really good. It looks like a little banana pepper or a little pepperoncini, but it's not. I don't know what they're called.
Pickled peppers.
Not shopping.
Like pickled peppers. Oh, there
Oh,
was
it's like this. They look like this.
Yeah.
They look like jalapenos, but they're not.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I think serranos, right?
There's serranos there.
Serrano, yeah.
But in Thailand, they may be something else.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that's my favorite, but what I do is I mince the peppers up and put garlic in it.
Like that. Yeah.
Like that. That's how I like, that's my favorite sauce to put on stuff.
Yeah. So, does anybody have any other questions? I think we're gonna serve ours.
Yeah, you're probably really hungry. You cooked for your parents and.
I know, I cooked for my parents like 3 hours ago. No, I'm happy to do it. It would have been too late for them.
Well, I meant, you know, you have to wait all that time to eat now.
Right.
Well, hopefully you ate a little bit.
Well,
Actually, I slept really late today, and my mom made the best homemade biscuits and gravy, and she had made biscuits and gravy, so I ate that at like noon, and I haven't eaten since then because that was so filling.
See, if I ate that, it would knock me out for about 3 hours.
I'm on a cooking thing on Zoom.
I had to drink a lot of coffee.
So. And then you said you usually eat it over rice, but with a fried egg.
Oh, that's right, the egg. I almost forgot the egg.
Yeah, that was my question coming up actually. When are you gonna be doing the egg portion?
Keep me, like on your toes. On my toes.
So I got some pickled eggs. You want a pickled egg to put on it?
No pickled eggs. I mean, you can. That's what you want.
I don't like them, but it's a good way to store when I have extra eggs.
Well, eggs last for a long time under refrigeration too.
Yeah.
Just regular eggs.
Except my refrigerator is purposely really, really small. So I don't go to the farmer's market to buy more stuff to go bad in the
I like your kitchen. Everything's within reach.
Okay, so for the eggs, I just fry them in olive oil or whatever oil you're using. Again, put it on like medium to medium high heat.
What's the go-to oil in Thailand? Is
Like
there any?
Crappy
Fish oil.
oil.
Fish oil.
They use a lot of, in Asia, they use a lot of kind of palm oil and some things you probably wouldn't want to normally use, but that's what they have.
Yeah.
So they don't have like coconut oil easy to get to?
It's not real popular for whatever reason in the cooking.
Especially up in the north, because they don't have coconuts. Down in the south, they have coconuts, but not up in Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, they don't have coconuts.
Yeah. All the coconuts are imported.
Yeah, probably from the Philippines or someplace.
Yeah.
Anu, how do you like that rice? Is that a new?
Yeah.
I mean, you acted like it was a completely new way of making rice. It surprised you.
No. So you're talking about the rice, right? It's good.
Yeah.
I'm not able to hear it very well. I'm just following the visuals.
Yeah. Well, it's just stir fry everything.
Yeah. We did stir fry everything. Yes.
In India, do most people have a rice cooker?
Not really. So we usually cook in pressure cookers.
Rice?
Well, that's a rice cooker, basically.
We first cooked it on high flame till the water came down to half, and then we.
How do you usually cook it? Rice, they're asking.
We either steam the rice or we also fry the rice in pressure cooker. We have like multiple ways of making rice.
Yeah, but we have rice cookers in India, but very rare. Like we don't use rice cookers.
But you have a pressure cooker, but everybody sounds like everybody's got a pressure cooker.
Pressure
So
cooker, yes.
That's really kind of like a rice cooker in some ways, but
No,
better.
we don't use a rice cooker.
No,
We
pressure
use a
cooker. Pressure cooker is much more than a rice cooker. Like you
That's
can.
right. I agree. Yeah, you can put meat and all kinds of stuff in there. I get it.
Yes, exactly. Correct.
Okay, so I'm frying my eggs. I'm just frying them in olive oil. I personally like a really runny yolk, and then it runs all into the rice. My mom like hates that, and so if you don't like a runny yolk, just cook yours longer. And like if it's going into hot rice, it'll end up kind of getting cooked anyway. So I just cook it until it's almost all the way cooked, and then I flip it over and do it over easy.
It's a nice way to add protein to your vegetable dish.
Exactly. And that was the idea, and I like almost forgot about it.
My go-to breakfast is I like doing rice soup, where you just get rice and you add a lot of water to it and flavors, and then you plop an egg in it.
Yeah, it's like porridge. That's big in Asia. Instead of oatmeal, they have rice porridge.
Yeah. I like to do leftover rice with some veggies and like scramble an egg in with it, like fried rice. Yeah, with an egg.
I think it's called kanji.
Yeah.
It is called kanji, and then of course they put, mackerel flakes, and they have little condiments they put on top of it too.
Yeah, that's the Chinese version. In Japan, it's called tamago kake gohan, which is just literally rice with an egg on top.
Masaru, since you're saying Japanese things that you know the name of, what's the name of it's both for gay men and for the rice that burns to the bottom of the pot? What's that word? I can't remember.
Should be a trivia question.
I feel like
if we all know it, then it can't be a trivia.
I think I've heard of it, but I don't know offhand. I mean, stuff that's burned on is koge something.
Okay, so
the one thing I know about Japanese culture, I went to a lecture on Japanese sexuality, and they were like, hey, did you know that the word in Japanese for gay man is the same word as the word for the rice that burns to the bottom of the rice pot? Because they're both considered normal. Maybe not what you're really looking for in a partner.
all right, so my eggs are like almost, the white is almost cooked, so I'm just gonna flip it over and give it like a second. I don't know if you can see. And again, if you like yours more cooked, just give it a little bit more time.
See, if this was a professional cooking show, now is where you just showed the plate of everything really beautiful, already prepared.
Right, where you have a food photographer take a picture of it.
Yeah.
Oh, food porn.
So like
Food porn.
I already took mine off because I like mine really runny, and my sister's is still on, so she likes hers a little bit less runny. And she is serving up the rice right now. She's getting it ready. And then you just put your rice in your dish, put your veggies in your dish and your protein. Throw the egg on top if you're doing the egg. And that should be.
All right. Amanita, are you there? Yeah.
Nice.
So Amanita lives in Thailand. He's there now.
Wow.
And what is it, 7:30 in the morning? So he's just waking up.
Yeah, good morning, good evening, everyone.
But we've got someone in India where it's 5:30 in the morning.
They stayed up all night, I think.
It's just like they had a couch surfing party all night so they could stay up for this.
Anu looks kind of sleepy.
Yeah, now, but we are too excited for the event right now. Yeah, we'll just have this delicacy and then we'll go up to sleep.
Yep, you'll eat the rice and fall asleep.
Wow, look at that. Nice presentation.
Just
Look at
throw the
the
egg on top of there.
All right. A little chili sauce, a little chili oil or sriracha.
Yeah, I'm gonna add some more to mine because I like a nice spicy flavor, and I'm gonna add some sriracha as well.
Look, guys, I did it.
Look at that. Nice.
Let's see. Hopefully my yolk is nice and runny. Yeah. You guys see that?
That's how I like it, but it doesn't look good.
What is that French dish where they do it with a real runny yolk? It's got a name, but I don't do much French cooking, but I've experienced it. I forget.
But remember the movie Spanglish where he made the egg sandwich and then he cut it in half and then he spread out the bread in the sandwich and it ran over the plate?
That's a great movie.
What an inspiration and a great movie too.
I didn't like that.
Something kind of sexy about a gooey egg.
Right.
Yeah.
I love a gooey egg like in slow-mo.
Emily, when were you last in Thailand?
What?
When were you last in Thailand?
I was there from October 19 to February of this year.
But I won't if I.
And you decided to come back because of COVID?
No, I spend winters there. So February is when in the north of Thailand they have what they call burning season, and they burn all the crops and like the dead fields to prevent forest fires like we get in California. It's like one of the reasons that they do it. But the air quality is really bad. There's fires everywhere and you can't see the mountains and you can't breathe. And so that's kind of when all the foreigners leave. So that's when I always leave, is when burning season gets going. And then I went to Colombia and I was going to be there until August, but then because of COVID and some family stuff, I came home in May.
Man, that sounds like the life. Half winter in Thailand, summer in Colombia.
It's not bad.
All of our dream.
Well, that was wonderful, Emily. You need to do more of the cooking shows. I think they're popular, and I sure enjoyed it.
That was fun. Yeah, thank you guys for attending.
That was your first time doing it?
Huh?
That was your first time cooking in front of people?
Yeah, I've never done this before.
All right. I thought that was pretty good.
I've never taught people how to make stuff. Like, no, this is the first. So
Future Martha Stewart.
Well done.
So Deepa is probably going to be next. So see if she can.
Emily, I'm going to Instagram my food.
And that's so you.
So I don't have the date scheduled, but coming up is Nepali food. But before that, I think we need to do a canning class, Nepali food, and then I've got Moroccan, a lady from Morocco. So
That's great. I don't want to. I don't want to steal anybody's thunder, but I'm going to post. I have a show that's at 6:30 here on the West Coast, so it's probably 8:30 Central, and it's basically food, film, travel. So if you haven't had enough food talk, I'm going to post it here. Let's see if I can get it going.